Top is without a doubt the hardest lane in the game to climb on, no questions about it. Hi, I'm Hector and I've been Challenger in all 5 roles, but the one lane that I hate climbing the most on is definitely Top, and it's for one simple reason. There is nothing more frustrating than playing against a Challenger Riven OTP with tens of thousands of games on a single champion while I'm on my second game of Aatrox ever. The biggest problem in Top is that you have to permafight in lane just to get some CS, but if you don't know every matchup inside and out, you will get destroyed trying to last it. But you don't need to spend hours and hours VOD reviewing to learn every matchup just to climb consistently. I know because I didn't do that. Matchups are the tip of the pyramid. They only matter once your other bases are covered, which most players don't actually have. To show you, in this guide, I'm going to be playing some games specifically in Masters Elo. This is high Elo enough that players are actually good at their champions because they played a ton of games, but challengers famously call it Masters low for a reason. Players here make so many lane losing mistakes that you can exploit to win. And if Masters players are making those mistakes, you can bet players in your own bracket are making the same ones, only worse and way easier to punish. But first, we're super excited to announce our brand new Season 16 Top Essentials course is finally here to help your climb. This is a 5-part course designed to walk you through every base of that pyramid I was talking about, from before the game even begins by understanding the most important mentality you need specifically as a top laner and how to build a good champion pool, to then getting an easy cheat sheet to follow which gives and explains to you a simple plan to win most matchups even if you've never played that lane before. We also make sure to do a deep dive into the first 4 levels of the lane, since whoever gets a lead first will almost always win their matchup because of how snowbally top lane is. So knowing how to play those first few waves as perfectly as possible is crucial to your success. It also covers how to deal with those annoying ranged champions everyone hates playing against, and how to snowball a lead properly if you ever get one. And it all wraps up with proper mid to late game macros so you actually feel like you have control over the outcome of your games. Trust me, we have by far the best resources so you can climb and hit your rank goals as quickly as possible. And we're so confident we always offer a 5 division improvement guarantee while actively using our service. If you don't climb, you get every penny back. So check it out after this video by clicking the discount link in the pinned comment below. Now, I'm going to be quizzing you on the big mistake this Mordekaiser made, which is how I stomped him in just a second. But first, you need to learn one of the biggest culprits for why most top laners don't make good decisions in their games. If you browse YouTube content lately, you've surely seen a video or a short about it by now. This trainer app or whatever where you choose what the best play is to train your macro. I'm not hating on it. If you like it, it does look like a fun kind of app. But the problem stuff like this has, and why it rarely translates to actually helping you in your real games, is that there's a difference between knowing what the correct play is and doing it instantly. For example, let's say I have a wave in front of me and I can choose between fast and slow pushing. If it takes me 5 seconds to figure out that I should be fast pushing, it's very likely I missed my window to do it because I wasn't hitting the wave immediately. And because I pushed the wave late, it's frozen outside my opponent's tower and I'm completely screwed. For a lot of situations in League, if you don't react properly immediately with 0 delay, you will miss the opportunity. So I'm going to quiz you on a decision this Mordekaiser made. First, I'm going to give you the context around the situation, then I'm going to say go, and you should try to answer with no pause. Just immediately think about what you would do. So first, a few things to catch you up on. I'm playing Zahen with no real clue of how to play him, so I try to all-in Mord with a level 6 timer. He flashes it and I'm like, oh, I guess he can do that. Then I get hit by some of his spells and I die like an idiot. Looking back, maybe I have to say my R during his R so I can counter it. Like I said, I don't really know matchups. I got hit by some spells and I died. Now I'm behind. A little afterwards, I'm not doing too hot and I'm low on HP with Kindred marking me, so I'm just gonna base. But then I notice my Rise running into the river. I stop my base so I can maybe save him from Mord, but he barely gets in range to death realm him. I stick around to see what happens, but yeah, my Rise is dead. And this is the game losing moment for Mordekaiser. Let's review the information we have. He has no flash and no R. I have all of my spells up right now. I'm standing right here. I want to make this very clear. I'm standing in this spot. After killing Rise, Kindred will probably do grubs here as well, right? Now I could be misleading you with this information. I'm gonna hover my camera to the wave and I want you to try to instantly tell me what Mordekaiser should do. Ready? Go. The answer is that he should have at most taken a step back away from the wall and immediately recalled, right there with no hesitation. I can expect you to not get that answer instantly, but for a Masters player, that is a big frowny face on his report card that should have been an easy question. I'll explain why in a bit, but first, we both walk back to lane and I just immediately fight him. With more cooldowns, I easily beat him in the 1v1. Kindred had to stop doing the free grubs to try and save him, but thankfully I just kite her around a bit, bait her into me by standing in the bush, and then eventually take her down as well. Now going back, some of you might think there's no way he can recall. If he left, I could mess with Kindred doing grubs, and Kindred will tilt and flame him, and then she'll die, give me a shutdown, whatever. This is why reading waves instantly is so important. If you look back at the waves here, there is an extra blue melee minion alive, plus the wave is on my side of the lane, so my reinforcing wave is arriving much faster. This wave might seem like it's going to slow push pretty slowly, but it's actually going to turn into a fast push very quickly once my reinforcing wave arrives and pushes into Mordekaiser. What this means is I can't just mess around with Kindred. Maybe I would stop her from getting all 3 of the grubs, but she would just hop over the wall and then I would look back at my lane state and it would be completely doomed. Lastly, remember what I really highlighted, I was standing right here. Distance always matters in your decision making with waves. If I'm not already next to the wave, it'd take me like 8 seconds to even get to the minions in the first place, so by then, Mordekaiser's already in his base and buying items. What this means is that I'd have to finish killing the current wave and then the one coming afterwards. Mord would probably be back in lane by then with full HP and items, so I couldn't fight him even if I wanted, so he would freeze on me and I'm completely doomed. Mordekaiser's problem is that he didn't see the play immediately. You can't just go back to lane and then decide to recall, right? So he threw every advantage he had away. So let me teach you the exercise that actually helps you make decisions way faster, and it takes almost 0 effort to train. I imagine that if you're watching this video, at least until now, you probably watch a fair bit of League content. Whether it's our channel, maybe you watch your favorite streamer, some gameplay commentaries, or just a boss's daily upload. Rather than watching content completely mindlessly, every time a minion wave arrives and there's a new lane state, just try to predict what the player will do next based on where the wave is, how big it is, their health, gold, etc. I don't want you pausing to try to figure it out. I know you're watching it while you eat lunch or something, so just as you consume content, try to predict what they'll do next in real time. Maybe like, oh, he's gonna stack this wave with the incoming one, then crash and base or whatever. And if you're wrong, you try to figure it out quickly, but just keep going. This might sound a bit tedious to do, especially because you're probably just trying to vibe, but after a while, you start doing it kind of automatically. In fact, I'm sure some of you already do this to some extent. The goal here, depending on your elo, is to get to like 70 to 90% accuracy predicting all of a player's actions. If you can do that, I promise you, you will play so much better, because doing the right thing quickly in this game is very rewarding. You will notice you get way more advantages this way. This Mordekaiser clearly knew the matchup, he's doing the E backwards thing, being super cringe, and I was getting annoyed because he was out trading me. But none of his matchup knowledge mattered because it will never be as important as recognizing the right choice with the wave instantly, and that's why I went from losing to completely stomping him in just a single play. Which brings me to one of my favorite strategies that so many top laners fall for, which lets me score kills over and over. And you will be able to use this way more the better you are at recognizing wave states like we just discussed. I call it the double trade dive. Let me explain the theory behind it first and show you some real examples. You know how when you're winning lane and you've got a slow push going, you can kind of start posturing aggressively versus your opponent? You're kind of daring them to walk up to the wave, right? A lot of players don't have the discipline in situations like these, so they'll often offer up a trade to try to outplay you. I'm not sure why, I feel like 90% of top laners just have a massive ego. Anyway, you should always take that trade if they give it to you. Most champions in top can deal about 40 to 50% of someone's HP in a decent trade, so if you both trade health evenly and then you hard push the next wave immediately, you can dive your opponent. Basically, you deal half their health in one trade, then half their health again on the dive. The reason this can be even more effective is because many top lane champions have long cooldowns on their defensive abilities, like 15 to 20 seconds early in the game. Ambessa's W shield, Shen's auto zone, Garen W, Darius's pull, Camille's hookshot, Jax's counter strike. So on the first trade, trade, they use the ability to trade back with you, then you dive them while their main defensive tool is down. But the best reason to do this is because you risk almost nothing while they risk everything. If you trade super aggressively, but you don't see a dive opportunity, it doesn't matter. You get to crash the wave in base, so you either kill or heal to full. Okay, here's some examples. I'm slow pushing his Shax when Darius comes back to lane. I hard force a trade with my slow push and commit my ult to chunk him hard. Now I will admit, walking into his Q is pretty trash of me, but you can see the play in action. His pull is down, so he has no way to outplay me, and we just trade 1 for 1. And of course, as many of you probably already know, the reason this kind of play is so good is because a dive trading 1 for 1 is almost always worth it because the wave will bounce back towards you once you're both back in lane. I am telling you guys, most top laners really do have an ego for no reason, and they will contest you on this timer, like this Sehen who lost 70% of his HP just to trade back with me. And I fully committed to that trade because then I can just go for the dive, and again we trade 1 for 1, he misses the entire wave, and it bounces back towards me. I'm gonna be honest, the worst crime here is dying to my Jace. No one should ever be losing to me on this champion. Now that you have an idea on the theory, here's a couple of variations on how it might play out. First things first, you don't always have to fast push after the trade. So here, Darius and I go for a quick trade, which I come out ahead on since I dodge his Q. Like I said, normally you would fast push and dive, but I've only got 3 minions and there's another wave coming. Plus, if I slow push this wave, I'll get level 6 in 2 more waves. So I zone him off the wave and slowly push this wave. Then the next wave arrives, and that's the one I fast push. You should do this variation if you've got an important spike or cooldown you're waiting for. Playing it slower was better this time because even though Darius has his pull, obviously Garen ult is pretty OP. On the other hand, if you're already ahead and you've got like a 2-level lead like I currently do, you don't need to chunk your opponent if you're playing a strong killing champion. You mostly just need to get their OP defensive tool out of the way. So I go in for a trade, get a Kali Shroud, then disengage. Most players don't expect a full HP dive, so they are very willing to use their defensive like this to trade evenly a bit like she did here. Remember, these big defensive spells are a 15 second 20 cooldown, so this is a huge timing window that you can punish. Now Ambessa is pretty OP, I'll give you that, but a lot of champions can do this, like Riven, Rumble, Renekton type of stuff with big burst damage. A lot of top laners are very squishy without their main defensive tool, so this works consistently once you have a lead. You can always win the literal, and I mean literal, worst of matchups by finding kill opportunities like this. Because I swear, every top main is a maniac with a massive ego that will trade with you even if you have the slow push going. I do have to respect the aggression though. Now it isn't just waves that players force bad fights on, it's also their item timers. And this is such a basic but crucial mistake I see way too often. Let's take a look at a final example. In this matchup, I'm playing Renekton versus Quinn. Now I had never played this lane before, so in champion select, I got a bit cocky and I went Ignite. Then I also went Deep Blade instead of Shield, so I have absolutely no right to call other top laners maniacs when I'm just as stupid. Obviously, this wasn't the correct build because the lane went about how you'd expect it. I didn't realize there is no counterplay in this matchup. If I try to dash in, she just E's and I lose no matter what. At some point, the lane was going so poorly I was forced to recall. I pressed tab as I'm walking back and I only have half of her CS. This game should be completely over for me. So as I'm in lane waiting for her to come back and to continue bullying me, she runs at me in bird form. Now always immediately press tab when your opponent is back. Now look at our items. Based on these choices on both sides, I want you to think about what you would prioritize doing as the Quinn. If you want, you can take your time on this question. Not fighting is correct, or at least not trying to all in, but that's obviously what she's immediately going to do. And if you can believe it, she immediately throws her lead and dies. There is a very simple but important mentality you should have around players rushing boots. Because she is so close to her core item, she doesn't need to build her lead anymore. If she did nothing, she could get her gold based on Profane Hydra, and I would be on boots and some components. Completed items are always better than boots plus random stuff, and tab eyes are usually a very strong early purchase to neutralize or run players down in lane. So when she got back, she should realize, oh, Renekton just spent a ton of gold. If you think about it, I am 3,000 gold away from my first core item, while she's only 700 gold away from hers. So all she has to do is go even in lane or proxy some waves based on a clean spike, then she can do whatever she wants because she'll be way stronger than me. But because she didn't think about this very simple thing, all of her great early laning with her counter pick, knowing the matchup, it all went to waste. She could not lane anymore, and it was over for her with no way to survive versus me. This is a very common lane state you will find yourself in a lot of matchups. If your opponent rushes boots, then you don't have to build a lead anymore. It's okay to play super uninteractive and just vibe. Farm until your core item, then fight on core item versus boots and components, and if you do, you'll typically win a lot of your lanes. But keep in mind, learning a few strategies like this in a YouTube video is only the tip of the iceberg. Our brand new Season 16 Essentials course breaks down every single stage of the game from the early lane phase, where you'll learn everything about wave management as a top laner, to then mastering the most important part of the lane, your first 4 levels, and how to make sure you dominate them every single time. Then a matchup cheat sheet fully explained so you can go into every single lane feeling confident you know a strategy for winning, even if you've never played that matchup before. And every top laner's biggest concern for climbing is how little agency their role has. But with this macro section, you'll know exactly what to do and how to control the pace of the map so you always come out ahead in the mid game. Try it out completely risk-free today using the link in the description or the pinned comment below. And if you don't climb at least 5 divisions while actively using our service, you get every penny back, no questions asked. That's going to be it for this video. See you next time.